Good morning, Tim Sykes here. Wanted to make a pre-market video lesson just going over the market, going over a lot of the best plays that I see, where I think the best opportunities are, even though we've been in this downtrend with the NASDAQ basically now, for a month, ever since July, 19th was the high. There's still opportunity. And as bad as it seems like we're downtrending almost every day, this is healthy for the market. We've had a huge uptrend. This is seasonality-wise the time to drop. September and October, remember, are the months with the biggest crashes. Usually the biggest crashes are preceded by some downtrending like this. So stay safe. I'll also link this blog post that I did. Is the market setting up for a crash? This was on August 8th, okay? And I'm not saying like necessarily we're going to have a huge crash, but I did see the warning signs, and I tried to warn many of you. Some people just don't listen. It's all about preparation, right? Like, you can listen to my lessons, you can learn from my tips. All the stuff I teach is stuff that I've learned the hard way over the past quarter of a century. Some of you guys and girls aren't even a quarter of a century old. I've been doing this almost every day for a quarter of a century now. So just think about that and recognize that I'm here to help you. I should also mention, I'll post a second link too for the conference coming up October 26th and 27th. We have just a few more tickets, for this early bird special. I'm filming this, on Thursday. My guess is the early bird tickets will be gone by this weekend. So grab it. It's huge discounts. I think it's 70% off. You also get a ton of bonuses. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in Vegas, October 26th and 27th. And we have so many speakers, so many millionaire students turned, masters now. Really excited. Over a dozen of my millionaire students. I have over, nearly 3 dozen now, but it's tough to get everybody in just 2 days. I want you to hear their stories. You're going to be able to trade live October 26th and 27th. Pretty cool. I'm excited about that. So I'll post a link. Seriously, grab it. Also, if you want to tune in from anywhere in the world, we'll have the live stream option, but I really think it's better to come in person if you can. Every single one of my millionaire students has been to my conference. Several of my millionaire students really, got the most out of this, annual conference, and I'm really excited. So I'll post a link to this, and I'll post a link to this blog post so that you can see what I've seen. But right now, first, let me just start by saying, what a play in TTOO. Amazing. Jack Kellogg nailed it. I think he made like 50 or 60,000 on this, long and short, perfect morning panic. It sucks that I missed it. I'll be straight up with you. I've been traveling, the past 2 days with very little Wi-Fi. You can never really plan when the perfect play is going to happen, but when you have this rather solid gradual uptrend here from the 30s up to the 70s, beautiful profit opportunity for the longs, for the shorts, and then the dip buy. This follows my 7-step framework to a T. Okay, and it's been a while since we've seen this. Jack is just one person who nailed it. Sulmia, sorry if I mispronounce it. Best panic in a while. Got 1/10 of what they wanted due to restarting the computer. Still made 1,300 with the biggest day. Like, any single one of you can be ready for this. And I had this in my watch list. I said, wait for the intraday panics. This is perfect. From basically 72 cents down to 42 cents. You got to dip by this panic. Had I even been around, I know that there was a 50% bounce from 40 to 60. So 50% inside of an hour. But had I been here, I know that I don't really do well on these 50% bounces. But I most certainly probably would have had, my guess, 25, 30,000 shares here at 43. And I would have been out at 48, 49, making like 6-7 cents a share on 25,000. So I probably would have made like 1,200 or 1,500. I just know myself. I know that I'm not trading big right now. I know that I sell too soon. I got to bring up the fact. Some people are like, come on, it's just support and resistance. You don't know exactly. Let me just show you something. So let me just show you this YouTube video, and I'll embed this too so that you can learn from TTOO and you can learn from this. This was posted 7 months ago, and it was actually filmed a few years ago. by another one of my Millionaire students, Huddy, and it was a perfect morning panic on SHMP that he got all on video. I traded that. I dip bought it. It was very similar. Let me just...
The chef and one of my new Millionaire students, Jack Schwartz, we went to his amazing restaurant just outside of Seattle.
I've got to show the chart.
Top chefs in America.
So, I'm not a big fan of his charting program, but you can basically see a drop from basically, 90 down to 50 in just a few minutes. Huge volume, very similar, and it bounced basically from 50 cents up to 65. It later in the day went from 50 to 80. But it's the same morning panic, and it actually very similar. Like this is, you see this, you have the panic, and some people say, okay, Tim, I get it, morning panic and bounce. But it's also the way that it panics and the way that it bounces. Really, really big panic here, which is just so beautiful. You get that first bounce, which is what I like the most, from 41 up to 54. And so this is like a nice 20%, 25% bounce. Then it basically double bottoms, and then you get a bigger second bounce. This is exactly what happened in that video. This is from years ago on SHMP, and it's panicking the exact same freaking way. Like, it's crazy. And, I have the whole blog post with the morning panic pattern. Anyways, even in an ugly market, this is beautiful. And some people will say, well, Tim, but it didn't even finish that strong. I don't care how it finishes. I care about this. This is a classic number 5 pattern from my 7-step framework. I literally have thousands of videos on this one pattern. You're looking for the biggest multi-day runner. I mean, first of all, this was a nice breakout play. So it's a number 3 breakout. Then it's a number 4 crash. Then it's a number 5 dip buy. It's absolutely perfect. And it's been setting up for weeks. So congrats to everybody who nailed it. Jack, I think, did the best, but some other people nailed it. Just dip buying the panic and selling into the bounce. And I said, if you ever miss a solid play like this, don't feel bad, because it's also a part of about like witnessing it in real time so that you can understand the speed, the volatility, and you start to be like, oh, damn, this is real. I can't tell you how many people think that, what I teach is not real, it's not replicable. And then once you start seeing it once, twice, 3 times, 5 times, you start being like, oh, wow. And so that light bulb moment is key, even if you don't necessarily capitalize the first or second or even third or 10th time. It's going to keep happening. And it sucks. It literally sucks that I was flying all day yesterday. I finally got Wi-Fi at like 3:30 Eastern. And I was on a plane, and I screamed and I yelled, and everyone was like, what's wrong with this guy? Does he have Tourette's? I was just so pissed. And I knew that it was potentially setting up for that. If you look, this is part of the reason why I have my time-stamped watch list. And I said no trades for me Tuesday as I was traveling. TTOO, which was the best trade, didn't really get started. Congrats to all TTO. I love seeing so many students. Ugly market. We'll see how far it can go, as is the best momentum play multi-day winner right now. You should always be looking at these multi-day runners for signs of reversals. And the bigger, the quicker the panic, the better for any potential bounce. So if you ever miss a play, fear not. At least you've seen it. Dennis Cruz. I'm just highlighting a few people on Twitter. I'm sorry. There's literally hundreds of people who banked on this. Even when I wasn't there, that's the most gratifying thing. This is why I teach. I'm not always going to be there. What happens if I get hit by a bus? What are you going to do? I don't want you to depend on me. I want you to be self-sufficient. Dennis has a picture of the 7-step framework to reference during his trading. And by the way, this is, some of the places that I've been. This is like Africa, this crazy resort called One Nature, where they have this amazing pool and jacuzzi in the middle of safari. So I'm traveling, I'm living life. This is another thing where, July and August are pretty much my months where I pull back a little bit from trading, just because you don't usually get the best opportunities, but you should still be prepared. And if I wasn't flying, I've been trading from some places with like literally just dirt on the ground. I would have traded this. I would have dip bought it, and I would have made 1,000 or 2. And my haters would have been like, Tim, you've been doing this for decades and you're only making 1,000 or 2 on a perfect play. Correct. Because I trade very safe. I trade very small. I trade like a newbie. Any single one of you could have scooped up 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 shares. Okay? 10,000 shares is like $5,000, and you can make $1,000 on this kind of a play. Every single one of you with a $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, or $10,000 and under account. This is the kind of play, this is the pattern that you should be focused on. I hear so many different patterns and plays, and short say like, okay, you win the majority of the time, but yes, short selling, you do win the majority of the time, but sometimes you get absolutely wrecked. And if you have a small account, it is not worth the risk. This is so much easier. You're looking for multi-day panics. You're looking for these or multi-day runners with intraday panics, and you're just scooping it up into this absolute panic. You don't know exactly when it's going to bounce, but look at this. I mean, this isn't rocket science. Former resistance becomes support. You can see here it closed at 41 cents and it dropped a little bit. It used this level, 41 as support here. Even if 41 failed, I mean, there's support here at 39. So it's not an exact science, but you're looking for this giant panic off the highs. And frankly, this is my gimme pattern, my go-to pattern. This is my favorite pattern in the markets. We haven't seen as huge panic dip buys opportunities as of late. We've seen runners like this, but we haven't seen these 30-40% drops, especially 30-40% drops inside of an hour. So when it comes, you better be ready. And hopefully, I mean, I have internet today, we'll see if it panics again, but really it's that first panic and bounce. It's like a bouncing ball. Every future panic and bounce should be a little less. It's like a bouncing ball on like a wooden floor. If another big panic opens up, fantastic, but I'm just not counting on it. And if you want to short plays like this, for some of you who do like shorting, look for panics like this too. Like it's all about big percent gainers. Whether you like shorting, whether you like dip buying panics, whether you like buying breakouts, you focus on these multi-day setups and you get the most volatility, you get the best odds, you get the most predictability. And that's what it comes down to. TTOO was a former runner. If you go back a few years ago, it had this big run up even further than 2 years. I'm thinking, back in 2020, it did go full supernova. And by the way, some of you are asking, was it ever a $180 stock? No, they're doing these reverse splits to try to stay listed. They're a terrible company, but terrible companies have predictable price action. Okay. Because you're just trading based on emotion. You have newbies who don't study the patterns. You have promoters, you have short sellers. It's all the predictable people that create these kinds of patterns over and over and over again. Some people are like, you don't know if it's going to happen. I've been doing this a freaking quarter of the century. It's the same pattern. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when you guys don't see this again and again and again. And I get it. Some of you do, and I'm grateful for that. This is why I love teaching. So leave a comment. Let me know how you did on TTOO. If you know this pattern, if you love it, if you've learned from it. I'll also post a link to this Perfect Morning Panic on SHMP so you can see it in real time. If anybody, screen recorded TTOO, send it to me too, admin@timothysykes.com. We'll look at that. I wasn't even in front of the screen, but if you missed it like I did, if you sold too soon, if maybe you're under the PDT and you had no more day trades left, for whatever reason, at least learn from it. There's going to be more and more and more. So we'll see. I don't know if there's going to be a play on like this on October 26th and 27th in Vegas. It would be awesome if there is. 2 days of live trading. So I'll post a link to this. We only have a few more pre-sale tickets, early bird special tickets left. Don't blame me if you see this video and there's no more tickets left. It's first come, first serve. I'm warning you. I know that we have, we're not having like a huge conference. Like we could easily have 1,000+ people, but I want it to be more of a tight-knit community. I think that we've already, locked in like 200 people. And I think that there's like only like 250 total tickets. So, I'm really pumped. It's cool to be real in an industry, full of fakes. This promo video actually has a few millionaire students in it too if you watch it closely. So even if you don't necessarily come in person, watch this video, get pumped up.
Beyond compare to other conferences and other things that I've had experience in.
I get pumped up watching this video. Anyways, I got to get going. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about TTOO. If you nailed it, if you missed it, if you learned from it, congrats to everybody. Be careful in this overall market. I really am still expecting more, dropping or crashing. I'll post a link to this blog post too so you can understand my thinking. Cheers.